live now, and I'm going to let Paul run with this broadcast.
I just realised my shirt's throwing off the colour, isn't it?
That's okay. Yeah, hi guys, thanks for joining us, and make sure you say hello, let us know where you're watching from. This is a series that Paul is interested to pursue, which is cooking on a budget, right?
Yeah, cooking on a budget, cooking with spicy food, cooking with steak. What more could you want in life?
Exactly,
Probably a lot, like a good steamed fish. But that's not digress, that's Jackie's domain.
Yeah, guys, make sure you say hello. This is going to be a pretty chill session here. So let me just let Paul run with this while I share this out across our platforms. You know what, I might just try, assuming it doesn't crash our system, because I can hear my computer just groaning under the weight of this. Let me just actually go live on my own Facebook account. Here we go, let's see what's happening. Facebook Live, Jackie M. Okay. New live.
Okay, well.
Paul Gray. Cooking on
Let me get everything
budget.
over here. Did we mention what
Start broadcast.
what we're doing? Like, do we mention the dishes yet?
No, not yet. I'm gonna let you run with it. Yeah.
Okay, well then let me get started with that. So, just one second, because I'm not running behind. I was born to run behind.
Exactly.
So
apparently I have to click on go live on Facebook for this to actually
Does it
work.
send you a thingamajig?
It didn't send me nothing.
Maybe go to the channel.
Well, this was supposed to be streaming on my own personal account, but
it's not there.
Streaming live on YouTube and Facebook Live. Facebook Live on Jackie M. But Meta Business Suite. Let me have a look on my personal account.
Yep. Well, is there
there you go.
Okay, so
There
we
you
are
go.
live
So
then.
we are
Never
live.
mind.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to be taking a back seat here, partly because Paul is doing the cooking, and I don't want to kind of
Cramp his
muddy
style,
the waters. Yeah, cramp his style. And also because we've just come away from a big market day yesterday, as usual, every last Thursday of the month. So I'm pretty exhausted. Plus, I've got actually 3 other actual cooking workshops that I'm running this weekend. So I might as well kind of leave my cooking to them. Yeah.
And also, that being said, I will still sit down and present because the camera is not set for my height.
That's right. Yeah. So Paul is a bit too tall for our camera
setup.
Yeah.
But so basically today, I didn't really have a plan until about 5 minutes ago. I did have a plan with the meat because I had to put it in advance. But that being said, what we are doing is Jackie bought chuck Crest for, I was going to say take my breakfast out of the shot. Jackie bought chuck Crest for the market, which she used for the beef rendang. And we had rendang, and we had the leftover chuck that was available. So what I did was I cut some pieces of it off. Not the greatest cutting as you can see, but at least it's that's probably the angle. But yeah, at least it's about, I don't know, 3-ish centimeters thick, except for this little guy at the back, because it was just the cap at the end that was like excess, and I thought, you know what, I'll just I'm in the middle of the camera. And so I thought I'd just try something as well with it. And so basically what I did was I sous vided this one over here for 2 hours, which I think is way too short. You probably need like 4 to 6 hours at least. But I only thought about it this morning, so I chucked it in before we went and dropped Noah at school. Then this one over here, cooked in the oven at 90 degrees for also 2 hours. And this one over here, all I did was I marinated it in, let me try to think, it was salt, a little bit of chicken powder, a little bit of chili flakes, a little bit of Sarawak pepper, so that's where the sort of Malaysian influence comes in, and this one I put a little bit of cornstarch as well, just to sort of act as a tenderizer of some sort, because it is still chuck and nothing's being done to it except, you know, letting it sit and marinate, and that's not really going to be enough to make it like good enough to break it down before you cook it. Whereas at least these two, even though they won't be as like broken down as much as I'd like, you know, the longer you cook them at a low temperature, the more the fat breaks down, the more it makes it like tender. But we're testing this in any case, so we'll see how it goes. Then the second part that we got going is, if you guys tuned in a couple weeks ago, it was a couple weeks, yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I made fillet, I can't even remember now. Yo, I think I'm getting old, I can barely remember. But I made a fillet, and I had mushroom sauce on the side. So I'm going to make the mushroom sauce again, because Jackie really enjoys the mushroom sauce. And then the third thing I'm going to do is make a sort of concoction that is a mix between, like, you know, a Western hot sauce and sort of a Malaysian sambal. It's not exactly like that, so don't quote me when I say sambal. I'm just like using a couple techniques that sort of are sambal-ish. So we're going to do that. And so I'm going to start off with the hot sauce, because it'll take the longest. Then we're going to go into the mushrooms, and then we'll finish off. Actually, no, we'll finish off with the steaks, and then that should be everything. So let me figure out how to change this camera back to the front.
Yeah, I'll do it.
No, I got it. No, I definitely don't want close up front. Oh, you're using the mouse there, okay. Widescreen front, right? Or for my height, yes, okay, it works, I can stand. Okay, so actually, is there one with the inset? No, the one with the inset's zoomed in, isn't it?
Let me have a look.
That's not the one.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it that one?
You want the
Yeah, that for over. No, that looks right.
overhead.
I tried that, but then
Okay. Let me just change this quickly. Remove this. Remove and add sauce.
Okay, well, while Jackie's working on the back end, I'm gonna get going with this. So basically, if you can see me, I know I'm really small at the moment.
What we want the other one.
The overhead with front inset?
No, we want the
Nope,
other
the other way around.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, keep going.
Okay, no, okay, do your thing. Now there's two of me. Okay, because we're a Thermomix household, I will be doing this in a Thermomix. So what I will be doing, I think I brought a knife, didn't I? 1 second, I'll be back.
Hey. Okay, this is what it looks like from my end, and I'm going to actually create a new scene. Just give us a couple of minutes while I do that. Does it let me change screen or doesn't? Okay. Here you go. Thumbnail overhead. Is that what I want? This is what, yeah. Okay, here you go. Yeah.
Okay, so
And make sure you say hello, guys. Let us know where you're watching from.
yeah, and also what do you want to see next, and what interests you. Ask any questions. If it's anything to do with steak, I'll probably be okay with that. But everything else, there's Jackie in. So okay, we're gonna do the. I'll bring everything. Okay, we're gonna do the sambal hot sauce amalgamation thing in the Thermomix. I think I already said, and basically. It's really a simple concept. So I just realized I've left like half the ingredients off of screen, so I'll go get those in a second.
What do you need?
But chicken powder.
They're just down here.
Oh, they're down as well. Okay, don't worry, I'll grab them in a second then. The Yeah, so basically, like what I'm doing, and this is a recipe that I actually came up with in South Africa when I first started to learn like Malaysian cuisine, Malaysian cooking. And when I'm saying that, I'm saying using the word Malaysian because it probably draws from at least 2 or 3 of the different ethnic influences in Malaysia. And what it is basically like I learned about the concept of like making rumpas and like sambal and those types of things. And so you know how you blend up your ingredients and you cook them till the oil cracks. But obviously when you're doing something like that, it'll head more towards like a sambal that's a sort of thick, pasty, sort of. Actually, we've got a film with what am I cutting this by hand? Bringing back my South African days.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did was I basically adapted this to be a sort of mix of that as well as the sort of basic Western hot sauce. And like a Western hot sauce, for those of you who don't know, and when I say Western, I'm really talking more American, is basically what they do is they boil a bunch of dry chilies in vinegar and they strain it out, leave some of the vinegar still in, add a couple other ingredients, blitz it up, cook it a little bit more, oftentimes strain it. And so we're not doing the straining part because obviously I want some of the texture, but what I do sort of want to get out of that is to make it more of a runny consistency. And so, yeah, you'll see as we go. It's a bit hard to explain something that's in my head that I've already forgotten the recipe from like 3 years ago. How long was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 clove of garlic. Nah, definitely not 1 clove, guys, please. Not in this household. And yeah, so it's something that I have done before, but it's been like 3 years, so I really don't remember exactly how I did it. But we will see how it goes. 1 second. Yeah, and what I'm doing here is I'm just taking some of the chilies and do you remember how hot these chilies are?
They're okay.
They're like medium, okay. They will be okay with a couple. Is I'm just going to blanch them in water. I don't think blanch is the right word, but just chuck them in water, soak them for a bit so they get soft. And then from there, they'll get added into the mixture. So I'll get on that now. I'm just going to run the Thermomix. Bear with me for a second. Hopefully it's not too noisy.
I'm just hiding in the background as well. If you find any questions at all, hit me up because I'm gonna compile the information here into a blog post. So and I'll aim to answer all your questions there. Again, make sure you say hello, let us know where you're watching from, and hit us up with any questions you have. Okay, let me have a look. Okay,
Same
yeah.
camera angle, right? Okay. So basically, if you have a look, there we go. So obviously, like when you're making a rumpa, it'll be mostly oniony and chili-ish and whatever. And so it's a lot thicker and whatever. But because there's a tomato in here, you see it's a lot more runny. And so that's what's going to play into the sort of hot sauce angle. And so I'm going to put this aside for a second, get the chili sorted, and then we'll chuck it in and cook it up. And I will keep you guys updated with that. In the meantime, I think let's move on to the mushroom sauce, which just basically following the same recipe that I followed 2-3 weeks ago. It's pretty straightforward. One thing I do need is Sarawak peppercorns. I've really started to take a liking to these. We're going to run out.
Yeah, last time we were in Ipoh, I mean, ironically, we weren't even in Sarawak. We were in Ipoh, and there was a gentleman who just set up a little stand just by the sidewalk, just in the middle of nowhere. And all he had were these boxes of Sarawak peppers, you know, peppercorns. And we just thought, oh, let's grab a pack, you know. And Sarawak peppercorn is famously like supposed to be the best in the world. I've tried it before and it's amazing. But you don't really seem to find it that readily here in Australia. I had a gentleman from Sarawak actually give me some many years ago, and I thought they were amazing, but I hadn't been able to get a hold of them. So I bought a box, brought it back, and it was sitting in our pantry for a few months, and then Paul suddenly discovered it. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's pepper and there's Sarawak pepper. It's just next level. Apparently, like restaurants use it, like kind of like top-end chefs who know their ingredients would look for Sarawak peppers. So you know, so you're serious about your cooking.
It's more floral, and it sort of has like stronger. I don't know, like maybe more oils in it or something. Cause it's like
more oils, more floral. Yeah. And by the way, guys, they're doing some not construction work, but some maintenance works in our building today. So if you hear any weird noises, that will be what it is. That on top of the Thermomix going and whatnot as well.
For my stomach growling, but that's the usual. Okay, so yeah, I need to remember that there's an overhead. So basically, here's the chilies. We're just gonna whatever works, right? Yeah, just gonna let them sit in hot water. I don't know, like 5 to 10 minutes, however long it takes me to do the mushrooms, and then we'll get back to that. So then, okay, we got the one. Actually, I don't know if I did this online or if I did this offline. But basically, what I've done is I've sort of taken a pepper sauce. Actually, did we do mushroom sauce or pepper sauce for the live? I think we actually did pepper sauce. Okay, well, never mind, guys. So this is a totally different recipe today. Basically, just adding in peppercorns. I mean, just adding in mushrooms. But what this is actually a mushroom peppercorn sauce, if that makes sense. So I like peppercorn sauce. I also like mushroom sauce, but Jackie likes mushroom sauce. So best of both worlds. I guess we can call it a Carwin mushroom peppercorn sauce. And so it's pretty simple in terms of what goes in. If I haven't mentioned it before, is garlic, pepper. I get the seasoning now, which is going to be some chicken powder, some salt. Blend that up, chuck it on the Thermomix. I personally prefer to do this on a pan because what it does is it sort of like brings out the oils and like chars it a little bit at the bottom. And so the mushrooms, what I really like to do is actually, if you have the opportunity and the time to do this, do it in butter on the stove so that it gets that like sort of very browniness, because I find that the flavor of the mushroom comes out more. So I'm going to do this, try get it as far as I can to that sort of charriness, but Thermomix is just, that's the one of the few places that Thermomixes just don't reach. So we'll do that, and then we'll chuck in the mushrooms, let the mushrooms cook a bit. Then we'll chuck in the stock, the beef stock, which I realize is off screen. Beef stock over here, and then this is evaporated milk. And that's basically it. So I'm going to chuck this on, go get the butter, and We'll see the rest in a second.
Yeah, still on the topic of like budget cooking. If you caught our previous broadcast, we were talking about how we got some really cheap beef bones at the Australian Meat Emporium. And also, as far as the cheap cuts of meat, we also got that at the Australian Meat Emporium, which is generally a pretty high-end kind of supplier. As an Asian, as a Malaysian immigrant, that's not my first go-to when I want to shop for ingredients for my business, because they do a lot of Wagyu and like fancy stuff, right? Grass-fed Wagyu and whatnot, but and you know how the Asians, but they do.
Where's the Wagyu from?
My hack for getting cheap cuts of meat is basically to get what like Australian butchers consider to be cheap cuts of meat, right? Because the average Australian wouldn't buy them. So likewise with the bones, the beef bones, they actually only know to use it as pet bones, right? So they have these big giant buckets of bones where you can get the bag and fill up as much as you want for like a couple of bucks. It's crazy. So we bought a few bags of these bones, and we were barely through them, to be honest, So if you're into fur and all that, that's a good thing. Yeah, so we bought like a few bags of like these beef bones, and we made some stock with it, which is what Paul was talking about that we're going to use in this sauce. But yeah, just so happens we haven't eaten a lot of like beef soup lately, sort of thing. But otherwise, they'll be really, really handy.
Let's do a scraper.
So what's in this again?
So that right now is just the pepper and the garlic.
Okay, so this is just pepper and garlic, fresh garlic. Yeah.
Correct. And I'm just about to chuck in some butter, put it back on for a few minutes to try and cook it up and just bring some of the oils out. And then we'll just add mushrooms, let them do the cooking, and then the last few bits and we're done. So.
And as far as garlic, we like fresh garlic best, but from a budget perspective, right, I buy these like garlic cloves, fresh garlic cloves. I don't buy like these pre-minced garlic in a jar because they have a lot of like stuff added to them.
It messes with the taste.
Yeah, it messes with the taste. And I don't buy like whole garlic bulbs that require you to peel. Like if you're an average Australian, you would a garlic bulb is enough to last you 4 weeks, I reckon. But if you use garlic the way I use it, like and the way Paul uses it, we chuck in like handfuls of garlic, right? Garlic to me is like food, like it's really hard to avoid garlic in my cooking, and not talking about small amounts. I remember I was actually on the TV show back in the day where the host needed to use garlic, and what she did, well, not in my episode, but in a separate episode, she used one garlic clove, smashed it a little bit, and then used it to rub the inside of the pan, and then chopped out the clove. That was the extent of the level of garlic.
I was about to say, she's really pushing the limits of the amount of garlic being used there.
Some Aussies use, right? No offense. But like, this is crazy talk.
No offense, but if you're watching us, chances are you don't just use one clove of garlic.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. That's the chilies into the rest of the paste. Gonna blend that up a bit, then let it cook, and then we'll add the rest as we go.
And these garlic cloves, fresh garlic cloves, I buy from mostly Asian grocery stores. You can buy a whole kilo bag, vacuum packed, for $6, right? Anywhere between $6 and $7.
Well.
Sorry about the noise.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
it's very, very loud. Okay, so these garlic cloves, like I said, you can get them for like $6 at Asian grocery stores. Maybe you'll end up paying $8. I remember during COVID there was price gouging going on, and one of the grocery stores I came across was selling them for like, I don't know, some crazy amount, $40 or something like that. But yeah, six to $8 is about how much you can expect to pay for it. And dried chilies, they're from like an Asian grocery store. Yeah,
these are like mainland Asian chilies.
Yeah, Chinese.
Cow, I think it's the name. Yeah,
Mm.
I know I've seen them on like Wongan or something really mainland.
Yeah.
So if you have a look there,
Mm-hmm.
lighting a look at, basically the chilies have been chucked in, and you see they pulled a lot of the moisture out as well, which is quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so now what we're going to do is we're going to cook them up a bit, about 10 or so minutes, get them to sort of just sweat onions mostly, and then the rest of it will go in. And yeah, that's one thing I do like, is the preset times on the 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And on the still on the topic of budget cooking, right? And I know, like, if you live in Sydney, you should probably go shopping with me. This is mushrooms, button mushrooms. Usually you buy them from like, Aldi or whatever for, I don't know, $6 for like 500 grams. So you got this for $3, and it was a bigger bag, and this is only half of it. We used up most of it already, and it was $3 because it was on the special shelf, right? But it's good enough.
So there we go. That's just literally the butter cooking up the garlic and the peppers. Yeah, it smells pretty fragrant.
And if you're just joining us now, this is the steak that Paul is cooking. This looks like a very thick chunk, by the way. This is from a chuck Crest.
Yeah, these two were the same size when they started up.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the oven obviously pulls a lot more moisture.
Okay.
This is in a bag.
So if you can see it, so apparently this and this were the same size, but like he's basically experimenting across 3 different ways of cooking or 3 different ways of prepping, right? This was in the oven for how long?
90 degrees for 2 hours.
90 degrees for 2 hours, and this was sous vide in the Thermomix.
57 degrees for 2 hours.
57 degrees for 2 hours. And this, nothing, all right?
So almost the kitchen covered for 2 hours.
Yeah, for 2 hours, okay? So basically, he's just wanting to compare and contrast the 3 different, ways this steak will turn out. From the same cut of meat, which is called chuck Crest. And chuck Crest I've never actually heard of. But back when we started buying them, and maybe because I keep talking about it, the price has gone up. Sometimes I feel like I'm a victim of my
Yeah, you do this to us. You're like, I just found a great deal, and then the rest is
I got to tell everyone, and then suddenly the price climbed up. But when we first bought chuck Crest, it was like $12 a kilo, which in Australia.
There was a special at one stage. It was like $12, and then for a while it was like $9.
There you go.
Yeah,
for a while it was $9 a kilo, right? So I keep telling you, go to Australian Meat Emporium for the cheap cuts of meat that the Aussies don't know what to do with, right? So they have to basically clear them at ridiculously low prices. And then someone like me goes along and finds them and tells you guys, and then you guys all go shop there, and now they've raised the price to now
for the rest of us,
14 or $15. $14?
$14.99, I think.
$14.99 a kilo.
Yeah.
It's still really cheap, right? Because if I would...
Hey, it's not really cheap. That's too expensive, Australian Meat Emporium.
It's too expensive, Australian Meat Emporium, so yeah. Anyway, so $14.99 is still a viable option, because usually how much are you paying for steak, especially if you eat at a restaurant? And truth be told, on the very rare occasion that I feel like a steak before Paul, right? I would go and buy Scotch fillets, as I would imagine a lot of people do. And the Scotch fillets would be like, I don't know how much they are, but you're looking at paying like $30 a kilo or something, I don't know, whatever. So, I would never think to use chuck Crest, okay, not chuck steak, but chuck Crest, but I imagine you'd probably be able to do the same with chuck steak as well. Chuck Crest for steak. So I actually, truth be told, I haven't actually tried this as a steak yet. Paul is quite confident it will be fine.
Well, we did chuck last week. Remember we bought
we did chuck last week.
But that's higher up on the...
Yeah, chuck is higher up on the scale. Chuck Crest is an even more cheap cut of of meat, right? Mm-hmm. So let's find out how it turns out. This is going to be my lunch. Speaking of lunch, I don't usually eat anything before lunch, but yesterday, because we had the market, right? And for those of you who are from Sydney and you've never been to the Concord Hospital market, it is on just once a month now, unfortunately. It used to be on once a week before COVID. Everything happens before COVID and post-COVID. But now it's only on once a month on the last Thursday of the month. For the most part of the year, okay? A couple of months here and there, they might move it on either, side of the month because of like it clashing with, say, Anzac Day or something like that, right? Last Thursday of every month. And the last 2 months, there's been a new stall at Concord Hospital Market, and they do this really intriguing sweets, right? And I'm not really a sweet person because I think, like, again, I've got this whole thing about like
Wasted calories.
yeah, wasted calories, right? Calories in, calories out, and I don't really eat sweets per se, but their sweets are actually really nice.
I thought you were about to say, I don't want to exercise a lot, so I don't want to eat a
But
lot.
that too, right? Because everything you eat has an impact on you. So I don't really eat a lot of sweets, but they gave us all this sweet in a like end of day food swap thing, right? And they gave us these, what are they called? These puffs.
Oh, the cream puffs.
Yeah, cream puffs, like big giant cream puff with custard, and the other one with matcha custard, right? Ridiculously big. And then they gave us all these other, like, I don't even know what they are, because like I said, I'm not like,
Yeah, they're like some
Yeah.
sort of brownie.
yeah, some sort of like, they're like brownie sort of thing. That one was matcha and the other one was chocolate, I think. And they're really nice, but like, I've been eating them like all morning, and now I feel like really bloated. So I've got this guilt complex about eating all these empty calories now. But yeah, anyway, so how are you going, Paul?
We are good.
Okay.
We have the steaks to cook. It's one little time, 6 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay, we should be good. Oh, this is another one, is it? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to cook every steak for 60 seconds aside, give or take. And okay, so now 60 seconds aside and sort of lay it by ear. And the reason I'm doing that with all of them is just so you can see how much it cooks the inside, because obviously they've all been done differently. So like the one that hasn't been cooked at all yet obviously will be the least cooked, but I want you to be able to see the difference across the board. Also, the fact is it is a lot thinner, as you can see. Like, it's quite dark. Turn the light. But yeah, you can see it's a lot thinner than the rest of them. But obviously, it actually would need to cook a lot longer. And what I would be doing if I'm cooking a steak straight without, reverse searing it, is I'd actually cook it on a slightly lower temperature, and I'd be turning it every like 30 seconds or so. There's obviously there's a whole bunch of different theories or the people have regarding how to cook steak. You get a lot of people who are like, okay, you put a steak down, you don't touch it again. You get other people like, okay, you need to turn it like every 10 seconds. And you get, everyone has their own opinion. And to be honest, I am cool with either way. Like, you could just chuck it in and let it be. But I personally have noticed or found, since I've been doing the turning it relatively often, that it actually seems to get a better crust. So that's my go-to for the last year and a half, I'd say.
Should you use a splatter guard or not?
Yeah, you can, but what I would suggest, if you're going to use a splatter guard, use a porous one.
Yeah, use a porous splatter guard.
Imagine you're making hot.
I'm very conscious about like splatter getting on like all over my thingamajiggos, So here we go. We've got a porous splatter guard that we're going to.
Don't put a lid on it.
Okay.
Because like the moisture is just going to ruin that sear that you've gone and put all this effort into. As you'll see, I'm busy drying these guys again, because you want to make sure you get as little moisture as possible on it when it hits the pan. And yeah, I was gonna say the splatter guard is the same thing as making popcorn. So like if you're making popcorn, you don't want there to be any you don't want there to be any moisture coming from a lid if possible. So when I actually make popcorn these days, I use the splatter guard. I don't use a lid.
Okay, let me just try.
Are you all good? Is there
Yeah.
something wrong?
Annie is saying
Oh,
there's
no
no
sound.
sound. Let me try it here. Okay, I hope you guys can hear us now overhead. Okay, with front inset. Okay,
We're on YouTube,
that's
right?
source.
Oh,
Yeah.
it just says the audio's back now.
Okay, that's because we when we switched the thing. Yeah. Sorry guys, because Paul is doing this, I'm using my phone on other stuff. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
I need that.
Here we go.
Actually, we spent so long talking, I'll do this stuff first. Then
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Thanks for letting us know, Annie. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. Okay, so
Here we go. I hope you can hear us.
yeah, let me just.
I was gonna say, I'm just gonna check on YouTube. Take this off the heat.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we're not ready yet. I'm just gonna quickly check on YouTube,
Yeah.
and because if no one can hear us, that would be awkward.
Let me just.
Oh wait,
shut
I
this
have to
out.
on my phone.
Okay, so as I was saying, in case you didn't hear me, we were at the Concord Hospital Market yesterday, and there was a new stall that sold all these delicious sweets. They're actually Chinese, right? So the sweets aren't super sweet, which is how I prefer it. And first of all, I don't really eat a lot of sweets, but we had this kind of food swap at the end of the day. So they gave us their leftovers, we gave them our leftovers, because we had some curry and rice left over. And I've been munching on all this, like, so I've OD'd on sweets. And not just that, but this other stall that sells dumplings also made like some really nice carrot cake, which again isn't too sweet, and it's just so yummy. And I started munching on it, so all morning I've eaten nothing but like sweet stuff, and I feel a little bit there now. But if ever you're in the area, make sure you drop in at Concord Hospital Market on the last Thursday of each month, yeah? But yeah, hit us up if you've got any questions. I'm just going to actually share this out to... okay.
Okay, while you're at that, I have the
Correct, no sound here.
chili.
No
Yeah,
sound. Okay,
yeah, it's been
got-
corrected
yeah.
now, so it's all
Okay,
good.
so it's been corrected now, it's all good.
Okay, so as you can see, I got the chili here. It almost looks like a,
Okay.
yeah, it almost looks like a thingy
Shakalaka.
sambal. Well, no, I was gonna say
Okay.
like you know,
So-
sambal that's not cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it looks like.
Did not give me
you
the
can
option to share this. This is very irritating.
Mhm.
Sorry guys if you're hearing all this.
Whoa, you're trying to fix that? Okay, so
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna season this and do a couple other things. But in goes chicken powder, 1 tablespoon or so. Then I'm also gonna add salt, but I have my own blend of salt.
Paul has his own blend of salt. Paul is very
Fancy.
gourmet, yeah, it's really fancy.
They
I cook
call
my-
me Mr.
yeah.
Fancy Pants.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see, here we have salt. Now it's just used to be a cinnamon container that didn't take the label off of, and what it is I've actually taken Himalayan salt, MSG, something else. there's something else in there as well. I can't remember what, and I just blended it up in a Thermomix. And so what I do is I use this for like my popcorn, and I use this for steaks and stuff. because it's nice and fine. As you can see it's like sticking to my hands. And so I'm going to put about half a teaspoon in there, maybe not that much, quarter of a teaspoon. Put it in to your tastes. You know, don't listen to what people say when it comes to seasoning. Rather just put it in according to your tastes, because everyone's different. You know, I'm more of a saltier person than other people, so, and I don't just mean in terms of my sarcasm, but that too. So okay, there's the seasoning. I feel like I'm missing something else. Oh yeah, that's it. Okay, 1 second, everybody. So that we can match the flavor to that sort of hot saucy type of a thing. Don't let Jackie see this, but about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. You don't want too much apple cider vinegar, because then all of a sudden all it's going to do is taste like that sort of American hot saucy type of a thing. And so I'm going to chuck this back in the Thermomix, blend it up a little bit more, add some water, and then I'll show you the final product. Okay, so in terms of the amount of water that I put in about 100 mils, but it comes down to people's preferences really. So like, it depends on what you like, and I sort of like it thicker, but you can have it a little bit thinner. One of the things you can do that I totally forgot to do is you could actually, especially if you do like it a little bit spicier, is you can actually use some of the chili water that you soaked it in to chuck that back in. Yeah, it's been a while since I've made this, so I'm missing like half the steps. So we're just going to finish off the mushroom sauce, then I'll chuck the steaks on. Let's have a look here. Okay, so the mushrooms have cooked down quite a bit. I over blended them a bit, but you'll see once we cook everything up, it'll increase the volume quite substantially. So over here I have, as you can see, because there's like the fat at the top and the stock over there, and because we spent a really long time reducing it, it's very gelatinous. So you'll see that, like, I don't know if you can, it barely even wobbles, but yeah, it's like literally firm. Also because it's been in the fridge. And so what you want to do with this is you want to take about a cup's worth of the stock and add it in. Yeah, you guys can see that. There's actually a few small meat pieces in here, but that'll just add to the flavor. Don't give us to your vegan or vegetarian friends. But yeah, if you're not averse to meat, this is a great sort of way to boost up the flavor without having to add too many ingredients and like salt and seasonings and other flavorings and stuff. So same here. I'd say about, should be enough. You don't want to, I feel like you don't want as much salt here because the mushrooms do a lot of the work themselves. So half-ish a tablespoon of chicken powder and just a pinch and a bit of the salt if you're using the salt. Okay, this is going to go back on just mainly because our stock is hardened up. It's going to cook for a little while just to sort of make it liquidy again. And then once that's done, in goes the evaporated milk and we're done. So that's going to go back. So I realize most people probably don't have the luxury of having 2 Thermomixes plus. So don't worry too much about doing everything like this in a Thermomix. So you don't have to have like both Thermomixes running. But if it was up to me and I only had one Thermomix, make chilies or the chili sauce in a Thermomix and do the mushrooms on the stove top, because like I said earlier, it just cooks them better, you know. And so okay, we're getting there. I'll talk about that in a second. Gotta strike while the iron is hot, as they say. I guess they mean like pan. When they say strike while the iron is hot, I'm assuming they mean like back in medieval times, or you know, 1700s, where they used to literally fill an iron with hot water from the wood. Oh, oops, almost made a faux pas over there. So when you're cooking a steak, use a high an oil or fat with a high smoke point. So like I'm using beef tallow, but you can use like I think canola oil. Wouldn't suggest it. The flavor just is not for me in terms of with your steaks. Ghee is good. Trying to think what else is. Palm oil, actually,
of cheap cuts. The tallow is actually home-made, home-rendered.
Yes,
from,
that is
like,
also true.
Cheap, like beef bones sort of thing. Remember how I mentioned earlier?
Well, I was going to say, like you see, there's the fat on the top of this. This is very little of the total amount of fat when we made this. Most of it is scooped off and rendered down into beef tallow.
Yeah, and in case this happened while we were our audio problems were going on, the beef bones were actually from Australian Meat Emporium, where we can get like really cheap beef bones, because Australian Meat Emporium caters to a white audience, and white people think beef bones are for dogs, right? So they sell them as dog bones, and we buy them for like big bags of them for a few bucks each. And it's basically like they just tell you fill the bag as much as you want, and then that's it, like whatever, I can't remember how much it was. So we've got big bags of frozen like beef bones that we use to make stock, which you can then use to make like beef soup, beef broth, like pho and whatnot. And we've got basically beef stock coming out of your ears. And the plus side of making your own beef stock using those beef bones is that you end up with a lot of fat that once the stock has cooled down, you can actually scrape off and render as like beef tallow. Okay, so these are all ways you can save money on this thing, right? While we're on the topic of like budget cooking.
Okay, so in goes the steaks. Because we've got a small pan, I'm only going to do 2 at a time. But it would have been nice to do all 3 at the same time. Okay, let's do the 2 that are really the main comparisons here. So we've got the sous vide one.
Let me change the screen.
Okay. Hey Google, set timer for 60 seconds.
Sure, 1 minute, and we're starting now.
Once you put it in, just sort of...
Second timer for 1 minute, and that's starting now.
Yeah, once you put it in, just give it a bit of a rub around. I don't know how to explain it, but like coat the bottom with oil so it doesn't stick too much. But also be careful, and then don't touch it. You don't want to be moving your steak around, because your chances of a sear, actually there's a reason I don't have the thingy on. Also the other thing that I do, I need to, actually this will look better, I have to clean it later, is I don't have a steak press here, so I just keep using the heavy flat things we have around the house. And what this does is just pushes your steak down so that you get as much of the surface area touching the bottom as possible. Hey Google, reset timer for 60 seconds.
Okay, change the timer to 1 minute.
Hey Google, stop. Hey Google, reset timer for 60 seconds.
Sorry, I'm not sure which timer to do that for.
Yeah. Just gonna count it in my head.
So in case you missed it earlier because of the audio problems, I don't know when we cut out and when we came back on. These 3 cuts of steak were from the same piece of meat, which is the chuck crest, which is super cheap, right? Used to cost like about $10, $11 a kilo. It's now gone up to $14.99 a kilo, but still really cheap if you're cooking it as a steak. I haven't actually had chuck crest as a steak. Chuck crest is actually an even like lower grade cut of steak than chuck steak,
yeah.
right? So
It's primarily used for like low and slow cooking.
yeah,
So like stews, curries,
yeah,
those types of things.
Yeah.
It
So-
requires you to really break down the
fat.
Yeah, and the tendon, the sinew and stuff.
the sinews. So Paul is attempting to turn this into a steak that we can eat for lunch. And also what he's done with the 3 cuts of meat is that he's prepared them differently, right? This one was actually seasoned and basically cooked at low temperature in the oven at 90 degrees for
Yes.
1 hour.
2 hours.
For 2 hours. And this was cooked in the Thermomix, sous vide for
2 hours.
2 hours.
That's
Okay,
six-
that's
57.
57 degrees for 2 hours sous vide. And this was not cooked
At all.
right? So this is pure raw chuck crest that's only just had like a little bit of seasoning on it, and he's gonna cook it for the sake of comparison. Okay, so we're gonna find out how this all tastes.
Hey Google, set timer for 60 seconds.
Okay, 1 minute. Starting now.
Actually just realized I forgot butter. So this is a little bit of a hack job, but let me see what I can do. I'm breaking all the rules that I said you shouldn't do. But it's a nice way to just finish off your steak. So I'm just going to tuck these back on for like 5-10 seconds aside. Hey Google, reset timer. Okay, and then we're going to turn this guy over.
Resetting for 1 minute.
And oh, there it is. Hey Google, what's the timer on?
T minus 25 seconds.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to put that down, but I'm gonna finish off the mushroom sauce. Obviously, because this one hasn't been cooked at all. Hey Google, reset timer. Because this one hasn't been cooked at all,
Resetting for 1 minute.
I'm gonna do it 2 minutes aside, at least. So yeah, let's just do that. And while that's doing its thing, it's quite steamy, but there's the mushrooms. It probably does require sort of rendering down a touch, depending on how saucy you like your mushroom sauce. And then this is about 100 mils. What do you think?
About 150 mils.
Again, this is about 150 mils of evaporated milk. So just chuck that in there. And hey Google, reset timer.
Alright, resetting for 1 minute.
You want it to reduce? At least a little.
Oh yeah. Where's yours? So that did just finish, okay. And yes, I know this is a real makeshift situation, but yeah, do what you got to do. That's one of the things I think, like being in a kitchen, you know, especially when it's fast paced, is that when you got to do something, you make it work. And so yeah, that's basically everything. Once this comes off, we have to just wait about 5 minutes before we cut it.
Do you need all this?
No, I can clear that now. Hey Google, stop. Okay, that should be good. And by good, I mean good enough. So you could probably see, it could have a little bit better of a crust, but that should do the trick. And our mushroom sauce has gone. And just gonna take this off the heat. Get some of that plated. And then I will show you what everything looks like.
Okay. You know, if nothing else, for what it's worth, I was actually multi-streaming to Instagram on my mobile phone. That's why I actually missed all your messages about there being no audio, because my phone was busy being used for live streaming. But that means that people who watched it on Instagram, where I don't usually do much, could actually hear the audio all the way through, for what it's worth.
Yeah, so at least we can run the transcript and realize what we missed. Hey Google, set timer for 4 minutes.
Okay, 4 minutes. Starting now.
And I could probably do this on screen so that you guys can see it. But the chili sauce over here, I think in terms of the chili sauce, I probably want to just iterate it a bit and try and find out, or figure out how I used to do it properly. Because yeah, I don't know if I ever wrote the recipe down, but if I did, it's still in South Africa. So yeah, once I sort of have a better feel for it again, then I'll share the recipe, because I don't want to give you guys what's not a sort of the best of what we have to offer. So as you can see here, we have the, it's just a bit hot there, okay. That over there. So what we have over here is the chili sauce. Doesn't look as red on screen, but it's pretty red because of the, oh, yes. Have a look over there. And then here we go with the mushroom sauce. So little bit runnier than I'd like. I'll probably chuck it back to reduce now. But there it is. So mushroom pepper and chilies. And we have 2 minutes to go until the steaks are ready to cut open. So in that time, is there anything you want to talk about? You want to promote your curry paste?
Oh, by the way, for those of you who saw my posts, my Popia Masterclass is happening tomorrow morning my time. So in about 21 hours it's happening, all right? And if you missed out on all my call outs about it, it's not too late, but you do have to pay $200 as opposed to the early bird special. But in my opinion, it's still worth it, because someone did reach out to me and say, hey, looks like I missed out, can I still get it? No, you can't, right? That's not how I roll. I know I sound a little bit hardcore, but I think when I want to reward people for taking action early, that's what I mean, okay? But in any case, for what it's worth, any kind of class that I promote, right, anything that I teach, it's not taught at a level for people who just want to, what we describe in Malay as main. It's not play kind of cooking, all right? It is this for people who are serious about learning how to cook and learning how to master a dish to the level where they will be legends among their circles, right? If all you want to do is cook for your friends and family, everybody will love you. They want to come to your house. If you have potluck meals, they eagerly await what you're going to be bringing to your event. Or even better, if you want to make money from your cooking, this is where, from your Malaysian cooking, this is where you join my class, okay? So for 200 bucks Aussie, that's nothing in my opinion. I used to charge $3,000 for private lessons, but if you're still interested to join my masterclass for 200 bucks Aussie tomorrow, you can do that. It's on Zoom, so everyone who says, so I'm not going to be in Sydney, it doesn't matter, you can watch it.
Hey, Google,
you can,
stop.
and if you're, if the time doesn't suit you, there is a recording that you can catch up on, and after that, so there's actually a two-step process to my classes, right? That a lot of people overlook, or they don't read and they don't realize. First of all, you attend the live Zoom session. If you can't attend it, there's a recording. Second of all, once you watch the recording, once you absorb the recipe, you then, if you want, book a separate session where you get to actually cook on camera, while I watch. Okay, and you can hit me up with questions and I can give you input on what you need to tweak and all that to get it right, because the ultimate aim is for you to be able to reproduce these dishes from my Malaysian restaurant menu to the point where they're good enough for you to actually sell, to charge money for. Okay, so there you go.
There we go. Final step, let's cut open the steaks. So if you haven't seen them already, it's a bit dark. Hold on, I need to get out the shot, don't I? Okay, well, maybe on Instagram. Oh, wait, there we go. So that's what they look like. Oven, reverse seared. Sous vide, reverse seared. Nothing. Just cooked in a pan. For Instagram, oven, sous vide, nothing. And let's cut them open, see what it's like. Where's a good place? Okay, so sous vide over here. Knife is not as sharp as I thought it was. No, it's all good. I can make it work. Okay, so okay.
And the sous vide one feels a lot more tender, yeah?
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to, in my opinion, and that's basically what was going to be the
one with
proof of the exercise.
Yeah, the one with nothing is the toughest.
I was going to say that was basically what was going to be the outcome of the challenge. Was that the sous vide is the best way to save a cheap cut, or to make a cheap cut more tender. For those who like that.
And you only
Don't
sous
cut it
vide.
that way yet.
Okay,
Okay.
you sous vide it at 57 degrees.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so if you haven't seen, they'll obviously be cooked or look a lot more cooked than your run-of-the-mill steak cut. But this is basically a... Actually, you know what? I can use these chopsticks. Oops. Sous vide over here. Oh, it's heavier than I thought. Okay, over there. A little more a medium rare, I'd say. For Instagram over there. Reverse sear it in the oven over there. It doesn't really look obviously that much or that different inside, but in terms of the outside you can see that it's quite a lot more, it's got a better crust. And then the it is smaller, but there's the one that we cooked on the pan. So yeah, that's basically it. Oh, sorry Instagram, that's the one on the pan, and that's the one that we reverse seared, or we cooked in the oven first and then seared it up. So you've tasted all three, or?
No, just the sous vide one.
Okay, have a taste of the...
The oven one.
Yeah, I actually haven't had a taste of it, so let me just... Okay, so oven one.
Okay.
Should have probably started the other way around.
It's nice and tender. There's one with nothing. One with nothing is really tough.
Because at the end of the day, and that was basically the proof of this exercise, is that this is not a steak cut. So you have to do something to make it steakable, if that's a word, or else you'll be mistaken. But yeah, so they don't look that different, but once you put them in your mouth, you'll notice the difference. And like I basically already know what it's going to be like, but let me go for it.
The sous vide one is amazing.
It's not bad, the straight out of the thing, but I can really feel like I'm...
Yeah.
It's taking like 2 minutes before I can talk.
Yeah, I wasn't confident about the sous vide one because it was only 57 degrees for 2 hours, whereas the reverse seared in the oven was 90 degrees for 2 hours. But as it turned out, you know, less is actually more if you're sous videing it.
And also what I would do is, I don't know the exact science behind it, but basically like the muscle fibers in like chuck and whatever are a lot longer than what they would be in a steak.
Okay.
And so the more you cook them, the more they break down. And so I would do, like I said at the start of this, I would sous vide it for at least 4 to 6 hours. So it'd be even more tender than this. And what I would do is between 54 to 57, depending on your like well doneness preference. But with a cut like this, anything more than a medium rare, you're going to have a tough time in any case. Once you hit medium, it's just going to become tough. So don't think about it the way you cook a steak. If you don't like a medium rare steak, a medium rare chuck crest would probably still be nice for you if you like tenderness. But yeah, there we go. I hope that was a mouthful of food. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it was educational, at least in some way, and just enjoyable on the other hand, because I'm quite enjoying the steak right now.
Okay, we're gonna sign off on Instagram. So let me just.
Bye Instagram.
I don't know if there's an option for me to
I was gonna say, how do you
save it.
uh,
I don't think.
once you stop it, doesn't it give you the option to save?
Is it?
I think so.
Okay, let me just stop it. No, it just.
So I've had the straight
Okay,
cut,
doesn't matter.
I've had the oven, and now let's see what the sous vide is like.
Okay, it's in the archive, so.
Okay. Yep, the sous vide is exactly what I expected it to be.
Okay. all good.
Sweet. So there we go. I hope you guys enjoy. And if you try any of the recipes, let me know. Because, you know, I'm not a restaurant chef. And I don't sell food for a living. So my recipes are not battle hardened, they're not battle tested, and they're not something I would suggest you try and sell. But that being said, I hope I can bring you guys something that at least you would enjoy in your own kitchen. And yeah, I think my personal favorites at the moment are the mushroom pepper sauce, just because of how easy it is. Oh yeah, that camera's over there. Just because of how easy it is and how much it just adds to anything that you're eating. So if you're eating like rice, you're eating chips, you're eating steak, the mushroom sauce is great for any of that. And the chili sauce, I haven't had it in 3 years. I haven't made it in 3 years. So I'm gonna first taste it now and see if it is like what I remember. And if it's not, I will fix it and I'll bring you guys a new recipe.
And keep your eyes out for the accompanying blog post where I'll post all the tips and techniques and recipes. There won't be exact measurements and whatever, but they'll give you enough information for you to run with this. Okay, cool. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on another thing of budget cooking. Okay, if that's your vibe, then I hope to see you then.
Bye.